Good morning, guys. Come on in. Believers, achievers, motivators, movers, and shakers. How y'all doing today? Welcome to Embracing Newness. Today is going to be a different kind of show. Every day is a different kind of show. Um, have you ever felt terribly bad about complaining, about complaining about emotional stuff when it's so much stuff going on in the world that emotions take a whole back seat? Like there's no space for emotions because of everything that's going on in the world. Have you ever felt like that? This is what coming on and being on time look like. And not finishing my little primping before I come on. I came across this man, Jeff. And Jeff is a counselor. He works in a school and he also does Uber. And he makes too much money to get housing assistance or medical assistance. So he became homeless. He's homeless because he makes too much money to get medical assistance or housing assistance. Can you believe that? So you come back to different things going on in your life, and you know that term is always somebody who have it worse off than you. You know, that just goes off of a cliff where stuff like this is concerned. And this is the gotcha. Jeff is white. 2026, white in America. So much for white privilege that his kids mock him about, that the kids at the school say he have, that people look at him sideways because he needs assistance. It's so much going on in the whole world. And beyond that, he became homeless, and so did his best friend. Well, his best friend decides that he can't do life anymore. This is not a story to start a day off with. That's sort of push you into your day with great inspiration. But it's a real story because he is now determined to start the next leg of his life off. Um, I was going to play the camper lady today from yesterday. I don't know where I get the idea that I could make my own plans. Because at the last minute, as you well see from yesterday, Uber was playing these commercials. I mean, Uber, YouTube, because I paid my membership. I paid for my membership, the 20.99. I paid for that, but it got crossed up between Apple and YouTube. So now I got to go through this whole process to get my money back. Then they shut off my card. Now they got to send me another card, 7 to 10 business days. So I still get the I still get this story that threw my whole brain off. I still get the ads, not commercials. I still get the ads. But so what? I can skip the ads. And I'm like, Lord, this story is so sad. And the whole thing is, it's not make believe. Embracing newness is not just happy go lucky stuff. So, I mean, embracing newness is also, even if you made the decision to quit your job and you're terrified, that's still embracing newness. Sometimes you don't have a choice. I could sort of see, only because I have seen it time and time again, it being an old person who is a vet, the most um, valuable of us who sacrificed their lives for the US. But I can sort of see that happening, slipping through the cracks. And I'm talking about a school counselor who's young enough to fill out their own paperwork, who is well connected, but as soon as you need help, you get thrown in the bundle with the rest of us that need help, or the rest of us that are ordinary people and need help with medical, at least, if nothing else. would like more help with food, but making too much money, so becoming homeless. I don't get where that connects, but he can tell you better about his story than I can. If it was left up to me, guys, I would be trying to put on something that is just uplifting to start your day. And I guess that is something now I can see that at one time people would want me to, I felt the need to sugarcoat things because I always made, I always felt as though I was in fight or flight or whatever when I was younger. And so I would like try to adapt to situations. So it would come, and sugarcoating things just so that I can, just as a part of survival. So it became a big part of different situations where, like, with just certain people where I knew them pretty well. So they would ask my opinion, so I wouldn't, like, now I'm not codependent at all. And now I don't sugarcoat nothing at all. But now that I don't sugarcoat nothing, people say I talk too brash. But I'm being honest, and I've learned to not sugarcoat stuff. But I guess I got to get past sugarcoating life without saying anything, because my idea of embracing newness is going on to bigger and better, being pushed in a situation where otherwise you wouldn't have chose, but it works out for your best, but not being pushed in a situation out of sheer desperation to hold on to life. So, you know, every day I'm finding that I know less and less about what I thought I knew. The things that I thought that I have not overcome myself, but my way of thinking. And it's no better example than life to show you. Um, Not that it feels good. Messed up my makeup now, but I'm not crying or anything. I just messed up my makeup from getting a little bit, emotional about the situation because it hit all at once right before I came on. And this was what was led to me. And this is what the Lord told me to put on instead of the camper lady. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to hear his story and we're going to talk about it. Jeff.
I've kind of just hit a mental breakdown, I guess. Um, Things are tough when you end up being homeless, living not even paycheck to paycheck, but day to day. Where today I wake up and I noticed that my cell phone service was turned off because I never paid it on time, and so that was $300, which then sent me into a negative $50 bank account and then having to scramble to make up enough money to take care of that negative balance, but then also, just to have money to put gas in the car. And it's very stressful living this way on top of missing one of my best friends' funeral, who was also sadly homeless as well, and just couldn't handle, I guess, the stresses and not think it was worth going forward. And I came back to Tahoe from more of a Southern California area where it was warmer to go to this, only to then have a negative account. I'm afraid that if I drove to down off the mountain, that wouldn't have enough money then for gas. I didn't have enough money for gas because I had negative money. And I had the opportunity to make some money up here and just had to miss it to then make $100 to cover that. And then put $50 basically in my bank account. It really doesn't feel good to have to do this. There's real consequences to just being homeless and not having enough money to just cover basic needs like eating and putting gas in your car, paying for insurance. The list just adds up and up. And I had my own ideation of self-deleting, I guess. It's not like it's a new thought. It kind of comes up again and again, but I just need to make a change. I'm not really sure what that is to get a job that pays enough money, at least more than like Uber, and like, can I get through the first 2 weeks of a job without having that income come into my bank? And then I don't know if I can. And then, when I worked in the halfway house taking care of kids who were homeless and out of juvie and just addicted and taking care of them, and they complain about the housing, but then again, like, I'm taking care of people who were homeless. We put them in the house, but yet I wasn't making enough money to supply housing for myself, and being treated like a piece of garbage anytime I talk, saying, you have white privilege, you're an idiot, you're stupid, you're ugly, fat, etc., along with trying to take care of them and then living in the car was just so hard that it was the first job I actually ever just quit. And so now I'm just not sure what to do. And I know I'm not the only one in the world going through this, that's for sure. There's a lot of people definitely hurting and have it far worse than me, whereas at least I have a car for the moment where I'm trying to make up enough money to catch up with the car payment also. So here I've been in Tahoe wanting to go to this funeral for about 5 days on the Uber all day, trying to catch myself back up, but it's just so slow here that I'm just not getting ahead. And I'm forced, for sure, to have to leave Tahoe because I can't do this car living in the winter. And it's too close to winter now to find suitable housing. And so I'm going to have to head down south, but maybe along the way, making videos, at least traveling within California. I'm going to bring my road bike. So, some travel vlogs, I guess, living in a car. And it's a 360 distance separate. But, yeah, my only thought is to make a video diary, travel vlog, talk about, a good cars, camping, living setup. I think I've got it fairly dialed in. Um, where to eat healthfully, what to eat. Um, there's certain times when I just didn't have enough money to eat, and I just view that as, what, this is going to be like a 48-hour fasting period, and that at least kind of takes off some of the stress. But I will say that it's much easier to fast when you have money to buy food. It's not as stressful as when you don't have enough money to then get any food. Um, yeah. Uh, but yeah, I mean, we can easily survive 5, 7 days no food, just off of water. I mean, all this in America, I think that we have enough reserves to do that quite easily. It's just rain, rain, and look at that map. There's a lot of rain coming in. So, yeah, I don't really want to spend too much time just like making a video here in the dark. So, end this portion of it for now, and then kind of go through more of my story tomorrow. So, I'm going to be going on endeavor for two things. Um, every time I do this, it wants to take a picture. I get it. So, two things. I'm really awkward, and I don't like being in front of cameras. I don't like the sound of my voice. I just don't like. I don't like it. Um, but I think I'll get better at it. I think when I was doing Eastgate videos, I always had a helmet on, so you couldn't like see my face, make my nerdy glasses, whatever. But I think that's going to help. And then also traveling, I definitely feel more comfortable being in one spot, being forced to travel, do Uber in different areas might be good for me. And I think that making videos, for at least right now, might be my only saving grace from this life of what it is now. Okay, I'm gonna try and sleep, and then I will next video in the morning. We'll see. It's supposed to get some snow, so I'm at Cardigan Bay. The lake is right over there, so it'll be interesting to see what it's like.
His name, his channel's name is Coyote Exile. If you'd like to follow him so he can have more followers for the people that will see this, maybe you guys will tell someone else, and on and on and on, because it only takes a few people to make a big impact, a big difference. And it only takes one person with one big move on their heart from God to make the biggest difference. And I'm sure that God didn't put it on my heart to do this morning. Uh, well, it's teaching me a lot too. But anytime God does anything, it always affects everyone involved. It always impacts everyone involved. When we're not moving on our own, especially when it's a big move like this, to go from, well, maybe yesterday should have told me something, to go from such tropical adventures last week of making a big decision to make these big moves um, abroad, them building their homes and looking at sunsets and life changes, private school and everything, and their family coming out, to now going to this this kind of sadness. There's nothing pleasant about this story at all. Um, Outside of him having the will to go on. And then I'm sure it jogs a moment in our lives where we had that moment where we had to make a decision. As this was playing, I was thinking about my brother, my youngest brother, and he is an introvert. He does everything online. And one week his computer broke down. They was having problems with the cable. And on the back side of his window is nothing but trees. There's no, like, it's not trees, vastly beautiful scenery. It's just like trees up to the window. And looking out, there's nothing pleasant about looking out the window. Nothing you do except stare into your mind. So he went from taking a walk to, and he doesn't drive. So he went from taking a walk to having my mom to take him to apply for jobs. And he went from having my mom take him to apply for jobs to getting a motorbike. And he went from getting a motorbike to going on those interviews because he didn't like riding the bus system, didn't know how to ride the bus system. And quite frankly, it would have been too much on him to ride the bus system. But he didn't know that. He just didn't know how to ride it. And then, to our great surprise, he wound up working at like a hot wing place where it's all this traffic. And he went from being uh, so it's called bus boys or something, where you just take the, clean the tables, wipe the tables, go to the kitchen. So he went, this introvert who actually, my boyfriends would come over to the house and I'll hear the doorbell ring and then I'll be like, John, who was it? Brother, who was it at the door? Your friend. Where are they? At the door. Well, what'd you tell them? I just shut the door. I'm like, why you didn't say anything? Don't do that to my friends. And he wouldn't say nothing to them. He would just shut the door in their face. He wouldn't even tell me they was there if I didn't hear the doorbell ring. But to go from that kind of, and he's like really rude, to being someone that people go in. My mother went to, so he's a waiter now, still now, after about a year. So even when the cable came back up, he wasn't at home enough to enjoy it because he went from being online all the time to now working all the time, working double, taking shifts nobody else want, becoming somebody that the customers only want to come in to see him because he's so polite. And my mom's like, she went in one day and she's like, he don't like taking pictures either. If you would have caught her taking a picture of him, he would have really, really embarrassed her for real. and she took a picture and she sent it to me, and he was talking to his coworkers. And I'm like, what in the world? She was like, yeah, and people come here to see him. And he was like, he was opening doors for people. And not only did that time that his whole world basically was shut down because everything he did was behind a screen because he didn't like being around people at all. He seemed like he didn't like people at all to me all his life, to forcing himself to buy a $800 bike and forcing himself to. This is the brother I told y'all who did Japanese animation and was getting paid for it at one time. I'm sure he's went on to bigger and better things online, but he was online before, you know, Facebook got big, and like when MySpace was out and stuff, even though he was very young, he's always been into being online behind a screen. Maybe not MySpace, but it's been a long time. But that's who was running through my mind as the story was playing because I thought of something else, but it was about me, and I'm like tired of talking about me. I wanted to dig deeper, and what comes to mind is, you know how when the king and Daniel, they was very close. And these people that came up against him so bad, the only thing that they could think of that he would do, because they know he would not do anything bad. They knew they couldn't catch him doing anything, no matter if they had a camera to put in his quarters. So they're like, they're going to use his prayer as a weapon against him, just like those kids did with the white privilege. They didn't know this guy's situation. All they knew is that he was white, but he was trying to help them. He wasn't hurting nobody. He was trying to help them. And only thing they could prove is that, hey, this guy has a connection with God. Let's use that against him. And so they found a way to have the king to sign this here um, rule, this law. But when the king found out, he was close to Daniel. So he had all his people, they're like, let's find a way out of this. So they stayed up. They're going through everything. It's just like here now in common day, going to the law library, stuff that might not even be online, logged into the system, going through everything, getting the best lawyers, going through everything they can find. What can we do to change this? The king has signed this. If we don't go through with it, then that makes invalid so much other stuff. What can we do? This is his friend. We know those lions is going to tear him up, even if just one lion decides to eat him. Out of all these lions, this is a lion's den. This is where they reside. These are hungry lions. They haven't had no flesh. They've been being fed stuff that they could just find to give them. This is something that they would really, really, really devour. And when it all came down to it, he had to put him in the lion's den. But the next morning, the biggest proof that could have been made that he would survive because of this God that he served was when they went to open, and the king couldn't wait. He couldn't sleep that night. He couldn't sleep that night. Can you imagine him running down the corridor? Like, my friend. Oh, okay, come on, hurry, hurry, hurry. Let's get what we can get. And him going up and Daniel in there telling the lion stories about God. Hold up, I'm at the last part. It doesn't give me any pleasure to say what happened next, so I won't. But he survived. And not only did he just survive, but now everybody saw this God. So anything that God does affects everybody. Who knows what his situation is going to push him to do? Who knows why his friend that he could relate to on so many levels that they was even homeless together? Who knows why not only did his friend not go on, but he couldn't even go to the funeral, something that will probably haunt him. Remember, I told you guys about my grandmother, who I had wound up getting pretty close to. And I told you guys how I helped her with her, even her leg dressings and everything. And I, me and her was pretty close because in Detroit, I went to stay with her. And as soon as I came to stay with her, my cousin and their kids were staying with her. So, but she put the kids in the basement so I could have a room that would meet my standards at the time. So she said, she was like, don't worry about it. Don't. So I made the offer. I'm like, I'm gonna at least give you $250 a month, at least that. But not only that, but she was in her room. I would go get her, surprise her all the time when I'm coming in after a couple of days of being out, getting ready to go to sleep. So I would stop at Coney Island, get my stuff breakfast, get her breakfast. I would stop if it's the middle of the day at the rotisserie chicken place, get her a full dinner, get me a full dinner, stuff like that. And, then she was on a diet, but she was really heavy set. She really liked her stuff. And I knew she kept Snickers and stuff in her drawer or whatever. So, where my cousins and them were saying that she shouldn't, I was bringing her bags of candy, her favorite Mr. Goodbar, Butterfinger, and all that stuff. And I would just take the bag and put it in her bottom drawer so she could be surprised. And I tried to show her how much I appreciated her taking me in, not expecting nothing of me, and also not making me sleep in the basement where I could have easily slept in the basement. I would have understood because, I mean, who am I to come take the kids' room? But I didn't refuse the room now, but I wouldn't have had suggested it. But she was like, y'all go ahead, y'all stay with y'all cousins downstairs, and we put another bed down there. Ain't enough space to put extra. So I'm like, I'll sleep on the couch. It don't matter to me. I just need a place to crash when I finish doing my thing. Just for, even a night. Eat up some stuff and then go out to the streets. Girl, no, you ain't staying in no basement. You ain't sleeping on the couch. She put me in a room right next to her, the blue room. She had a beautiful house in Detroit. And anyway, I said that, and then after that time, I was a dancer at that time, but then I became a caregiver. So she moved here, and um, I was telling y'all about the vampire thing I went through, where the I had that on my license plate, but had just really seen Blade on VCR tape, seeing Interview with the Vampire. So I just got this really beautiful black leather coat that sort of swung as I was walking and swing in the wind. I'm from Detroit, so it'll always be windy. And I was like, I'm gonna change my style. So I just, I already had tattoos, so I got the piercings and stuff. And I had got vampire on my license plate, but that was only because I wanted to get my license plate personalized, and I wanted to be known for something. I wanted to look more exotic. I felt like vampires looked so exotic at that time. And I wanted it to go with my sort of rock star look. And I only came out at night. I had a phone that was nights and weekend free nights, um, and free weekends. So I'd be like, anytime I'd be like, you vampire, why you got vampire on the license plate? I'd be like, because I only come out at night. I don't even turn my phone on until after 5, 6 o'clock. That was because I had free nights and weekends. I just wanted to be known for something. I wanted to look exotic and eccentric and all that stuff. I was into Prince, and I just wanted to look exotic. But that's what I had became known for. People had took it so far as to make up more, so much many stories you can make up behind that. And I didn't care because to me that just made me look more exotic. At that time I never knew I was gonna change my life around and follow God and be, and I didn't know none of this. I didn't expect anything past that time. And so I had became a caregiver. And then I learned all this stuff and I'm helping take care of her. But then I went back to my ex-husband. I was taking care of her after I had my daughter when I moved here. When I told y'all I was going to the Salvation Army because I left my husband, the Muslim. So anyway, for years I was haunted because the Muslims, they do not believe in going to funerals. And I did not go to her funeral. We was living in a masjid, and I'm around all these Arab people and stuff, eating with my hands and learning Arabic and stuff. And I heard about the news, and it broke my heart. I was tore up. I lost so much in that Muslim thing. And I was now even saying it out loud, it's just like I'm so disgusted with myself. I was pregnant again and I had a baby girl and she was only like 6 months and I was pregnant again. We had my son, my oldest son with me, and we was living in a mess, where they go to pray at. And to say out loud that I begged my husband, I know we don't believe in this, but I'm really close to my grandmother. I really need to see my cousins. I really need to be around my family right now. All this is your family. You're in a whole new life now. And I didn't go. So after everything had changed in my life, and now I'm not a Muslim no more. As soon as me and him broke up, I tried to go on in the Muslim faith. So I only was trying because everybody was saying I was just a Muslim because of him. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm learning religion and all this. But really, I was. And But I couldn't go on in that because I knew it was one guy. That's all I was going on as one guy. But I also knew that Jesus wasn't just a teacher or a prophet. I knew that. I knew that he was the Son of God. Anyway, I didn't go to her funeral. And I said that because he couldn't make his best friend's funeral after he was homeless. There's something about being homeless. There's something about living in the projects, even if you come from the best family. It's something about it that makes them, until you can get on your feet, disassociate from you a little bit. If you pass away in it, of course, they're going to make all the arrangements. They're going to, you know, but while you're in the deep end, they're like going to watch you to see if you can make it out the deep end before they really affiliate with you. So you can imagine him really pouring out his heart to his friend, and his friend really knowing what that was, and him really being in a place where he didn't feel like he was worthy to go on. I'm in the same place. I might even have been in the same frame of mind, but I'm just trying to hold on to something to know that yes, life is worth living. Yes, this time in my life will pass. Yes, there is something for me in the future. And not even being able to say goodbye to the one that you have been able to relate to the most in that time. Having to choose between eating, living, getting gas, and making the funeral. Say goodbye. Even though the soul is gone, the body is still there. It's something mental about going to a grave site. It's something mental about going to the hospital, even though you know that the person has passed already. It's something that we need to say goodbye, to show the family that's already there, if any. And yeah, he did have friends. He had a best friend. To get pulled from that and say, um, well, this is what's next for me. But to have no idea what's next for you and not even be able to say goodbye to a certain part of your life because this was a very big chapter. He was a very big piece of his chapter of his life. When I left downtown, just stayed in the project here for 4 years. And when I left downtown, there was a few people that I really, really didn't like at all, period, and still feel like it's the evilest people I ever met. But I'm working on loving everybody. I'm not there yet. But there was people I really, really was going through a struggle with. We was friends. We was, looking out for each other. We was cool. I mean, like sitting on the porch talking about stuff most of the day, like, and when it was time to say goodbye, even if I had to knock on their door, like, look, I'm about to get ready to go. We still in the same city and everything, but it's still like, okay, I'm not gonna be where I was. I'm not gonna be in this area. We're not gonna do the same routine no more. Everything has changed for me. So look, I'll see you on the book. What's your Facebook name? I'll catch you on there. But just like they had been saying in the thing with the as far as moving abroad, your people, places, and things when they change, which is also a big part of NA. that you have to change your people faces and things for everything to change in your life because they are a vital part of who you are, your mindset. They say the five closest people to you tells you so much about who the person is, and it does for a big reason because who you're talking to, what advice you're getting, who's in your ear, who regulates your time, where you put your money into, those things are who you are. That's why when they come and do any kind of criminal history, they don't come looking through your drawers. They take your computer and your phone. That's it. That tells everything they need to know. What you've been looking up, who you've been talking to, who was your top list of your friends, family group. Everything is in there. Who you've been emailing, what's going on with you, who you talk to regularly, how long y'all be talking. Is it a friendship? Is it close? But this is off the record. This is homelessness. White people. There was a time where white privilege was a real thing a couple years ago. It was a real thing. But it's just like you're in a group under a certain amount of money now. You are in the same group. When my son went from elementary school to middle school, that's why I moved here to this place. Because he was about to get ready to go into middle school. And I wanted to move into the new school he was going to. I wanted to be close to that school. I didn't want to be a bus ride away from that school, an Uber away from that school. I wanted to be close. And I had to move anyway because of my neuropathy and living upstairs. I waited on this place for 4 months for me to move in here so that I can be close to his school. So if anything go down, I could walk distance. Because when they put him in the school, they grouped him in special ed instead of whereas before he was in an autism class, and that was set apart because they had special projects. It was looked at as a privileged class, but here he going from that to, I mean, not like special ed is all bad, but it's a big difference. It's a real big difference because now everybody around you isn't the same as you. Now it's just like, you know, one person might be just only sitting there, not able to speak at all. And one person might be in a wheelchair, able to speak, but, just saying the same thing over and over and over. And here you are trying to figure out who you are. And I can't go on about that because it had a very big effect on my son. Very extremely big effect on him. To where he had to go away from me for 3 weeks because of his mental state. And they didn't have anything here in the city. And they told me if I did not sign papers for him to go away from me, close to Atlanta, a place I never heard of before. They said if I didn't sign the papers, they was going to call defects on me for him to get this supposed help. This is an autism person who's used to their same environment all the time. And I had no one I could call to say, hey, they doing this as a crime. This is going to affect his mental health even more. But I said all that to say it matters who you're around, who you're getting advice from, who he was getting advice from, who he was giving advice to. And now he has to make a decision. He's at a crossroad. He has to decide, is his life worth saving? It's already been shown to him. Nobody else is going to do it for him. Nobody else cares until you make it out. I was watching this comedian, it's real funny, Earthquake. And he was like, when he get old and in a wheelchair, he's like, don't call my daughters. He's like, don't call none of them. He called them out. That's not really a bad word. Don't call none of them heifers. They'll have me sitting in front of a TV talking about throwing stuff at my head, talking about, you never cared about me. You never loved me. And he's like, I did when you made it. He's like, then you became a child when you made it. That's true. I know it to be true. People don't care until they see you coming out of your slumber. Like, is they dead? Check for their breath. Is they dead? Oh no, she's still alive. All right, well, she just holding on. Let's just watch. They'll be sitting back like, oh, she done got up. Okay, what's going on? Oh Lord, she praying. Oh Jesus, what's going on here? Oh my gosh, she walking. Oh Lord Jesus. Oh my gosh, she making calls. Lord, oh Lord, she's moving. Oh Jesus, what's going on here now? Oh my God, she's thriving now. What? She's happy. Oh, it's over. She done called on God. She done surrender her life. It's over now. She is completely surrendered her life to save it. And if he can find God in his long night of the soul, see, it's a spiritual awakening when God wakes you up. When God takes your hand and walks you through your ego death, you're looking in the mirror, coming out, coming through. Him pulling you out the quicksand. That's a spiritual awakening. But it's a long night of the soul when you have to find God, find a reason to live. Crawl your way out. Crawl. Barely making it, barely breathing, just crawling a couple feet a day. Sleeping of exhaustion to get up and crawl again. Not looking for no mountains. Not looking even for the valley. Just looking to make it out of the quicksand. And I know that too. And that's where he is. And I pray he make it. And I think he will. And I'm going to pray for him tonight that he finds God. And it makes it easier for him to make it. Because just like God have children, the enemy have children too. And the enemy's plan is a lot faster than God's plan. It's a lot less humbling than God's plan. It's a lot less humiliating, if that's what you want to call humiliation. What you want to call humiliation is something by people's standards and not by your own life standards. Because you begin to bear fruit in your own life. You begin to find a reason to live. And you go from finding a reason to live to starting to understand what life is about. And you go from understanding what life is about to one to embrace life. Then you go from embracing life to one to affect the lives around you. Then you go from that to wanting to love yourself more so that it's not a lie what you showing everybody else, smile on your face is not a lie, then when you embrace that smile and that smile becomes true, then your joy start making you thrive. And when you start thriving, it starts showing in your surroundings. Then it starts showing in your surroundings. Then it starts showing your refrigerator. But all the while, people only looking at your narrow path. Well, we can only see that she got a smile on her face. We can only see that she's alive or whatever. Yeah, but people don't know how much I'm thriving because they don't see that I don't borrow money no more. They don't see that my son has 3 full meals a day, not just chicken nuggets and hot dogs. I'm talking about full out meals. Every meal is a full out meal. You know, he might have pancakes, sausage, for breakfast. You might have every lunch. You have 5 things. You have fruit snacks, either oranges or peaches. You have a snack, which is cookies, cheeses, or chocolate chip cookies, cheeses, honey bun cut up or something heated and cut up or something. He has either chicken nuggets, corn dogs, a cheese sandwich, pizza rolls, sliced up pizza, and a chip because I get the variety, the big variety packs of chips every day, and a Capri Sun. Night, he have at least one vegetable, even if that vegetable is French fries, and not only that, he's thriving in school. I'm his teacher, but he also have online classes. But I pulled him out of school because of different problems, and he's been thriving since. And so I had to actually do some schooling myself in order to get caught up. So he's thriving in his element, his room. He got everything he want and need, everything he want. Everything he got the most updated phone, he got a PC, he got, they don't see my life, how it's thriving. Only thing they can see is that um, I'm not around, and they see me on the screen because I don't talk to nobody. I don't talk to nobody. But it looked like a long, and it has been a very long path, and it's still a long path. Every day I'm learning something. I did not know this was going to be a subject today, but it's a lot more of nurturing. It's a lot more of value. It's a lot more wealth. It's a lot more to feel again. I I I don't desire to drink. After I had been drinking all my life, on and off, all my life, that has always been my go-to outside of drugs. I lived as a lesbian for 7 years of my life, in my early life before I became Muslim, which was what my husband was rescuing me from while we had left. I was a dancer and I did a lot of things. Before I had just my last relationship was only with my son's father. The only reason why I had a last relationship, because before that, I had been celibate for like 5 years. And even when I got with him, I'm still celibate, but the Lord said, because he touched me in a certain way, that broke my celibacy. But that's why we broke up. It was because I didn't give myself away to him. And we broke up after he touched me in that certain way. Because when I was like, then he just blew up and he just left. And then that was his last blow up. He was like, see, you ain't gonna keep putting me through that. And I'm like, and I thought I did something so wrong. I'm like, I shouldn't have did it like that. Like, I told you. I was like, yeah, but I told you I can't do that. I told you. That was our last thing before. So I went from all of that, what I told y'all, to not having those kind of even thoughts. I don't think of women like that at all. at all, period. Not that there was something so wrong with me. I enjoyed what I did at that time, but I was very lost at that time. I was doing parties seeing the nature of men when they wasn't around their wives and stuff. I was a 14-year-old who had to make a living in the sex industry before I could get it because I couldn't get a job traveling. So I had to make myself look older. And I had to uh, make myself look appropriate to work. So as I was traveling, I was working as as a phone operator, doing 800 numbers and stuff like that on Skid Row, or what they call that in California. And to go from all of my past to now being celibate for 3 years, before that, being celibate, my son has never seen me with another man outside of his father. And raising my son on my own, guys come on to me all the time. When I go somewhere, guys come on to me. And, I'm not rude, but I let them know that I'm not interested. I'm not interested in dating. I'm not dating right now. And if I don't let them know, my son let them know. He'd be looking like, do you know him? Like, why have you said it so close to you? He just think his father is just the all be all. If it's a red man around me, it only should be his father. Not that he's so crazy about it, his father. But he just don't feel like nobody is worthy of being around me or something. I don't know. You know how teenage boys is. And ain't nothing funny, no funny business or nothing. We have great boundaries, and he's real. It ain't nothing like that. It's just boundaries. It's just mother and son. Because it's just us against the world type thing. But I'm saying all that because comes a time that is a real crossroads where you might be going through the realest season of your life. And I've had those seasons many times. And this is the season where I had a choice, and I chose to grab God's unchanging hand. I had no other choice because I felt like the people around me didn't care to see me go on because of the way they was pushing me. Like they wanted me to do something to myself. Like they wanted me to hate myself. Like they didn't show me like I was valuable. Things I said was not taken seriously. So that's why I had to separate myself so that I could start seeing value in myself. So that what God was showing me about who I really am was visible in how I treat myself. I just bought my first pair of tennis shoes since I've been sick. And I've been sick now for almost 8 years. I've been wearing the same pair of white shoes because they fit, they're comfortable. I have neuropathy. I had some black shoes before those, but those was really outdated. They was really because I wasn't on the right medication. My son saw me had got my tennis shoes because I bought him many shoes. I just hadn't brought myself any, but I threw the other ones away. The Lord told me that it was time to upgrade my life when I started changing my set. So I rearranged some things with my bills, and I did what He told me to do. My credit has gotten much better and everything, so I was able to do that. And He's like, it's time for you to do a few things for yourself so that you can look like on the inside, like what you look on the outside. Make an investment in yourself That's what I did. And it's a longer road, but the wealth is true. And it's you don't have to worry about it being snatched from you. So anyway, that's the show today. Embracing newness. I just really did not know the direction of the show today. So how about this? How about if I just don't make no more plans? But I do know that they told me on Monday they left a paper for me saying that they was going to be in the area doing work in on cable. And, Xfinity is going to be doing work in the area. So I am going to say that if they don't have my internet up, then later tomorrow I will just do a video and put it up. Excuse me, and it just won't be live. But I'm going to stick with my obligation to do what the Lord's having me to do. But I might have to just do it different. But it will be a video tomorrow, if nothing else. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. I thank you so much, my new subscribers. I thank you for joining me today. And I pray you have a blessed rest of your day and continue to seek and you will find. Peace.